Mrs. Shomana Gracia Jacob, ME in Computer Science, lecturer in CPET, Chennai for the past 3 years. She has published 4 national and international papers. She has won Star Achiever Award for academic proficiency.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series in Computer Science. In today's session, we are going to see about the string manipulations in C, that is available string functions in C and how they are manipulated using the string functions. So, first we need to know what is a string. A string is defined as a group of characters, digits or symbols that are enclosed between double quotation marks. That is, it is not necessary that a string means it should only be a text string or a character string. It can even have numbers as well as symbols. And a string is also called as a character array. So, we had seen about arrays. So, an array is nothing but a sequence of characters arranged in memory. So, even these sequence of characters, when they are arranged continuously in memory, they are called a string. And every character array or every string is terminated with a null character. A null character indicates the end of the string, that is, the compiler should know when we are manipulating strings, the compiler should know when the string is over. So, for that reason every string has been terminated with a null character, which is to identify how the string is complete. So, what is this null? A null is nothing but it is a byte, that is, it is having 8 bits. When all the bits are set to logic 0, that is called the null value. That means it has no value or meaning. It is simply to depict that it is a value, it's something to depict that there is nothing in it. So, this represents the end of a string. So, this is how a string is mapped in memory. So, here I am having the string India. If you see at the end of after A, there is a null character. So, though actually India is having only 5 characters, it is not sufficient that we have just 5 bits depicting it. We have to have an extra bit to depict the end of the string. And if you see the addresses, it is from 500, 1, 2 and 3. We know that the storage space required for a character is only 1 byte. That is why it is incremented by 1. If it was an integer, it would have been incremented by 2 bytes. So, this is just to depict the amount of memory allocation for a character and how a character string is stored in memory. So, this is how we initialize strings. Initialization is giving some value to a string. Here if you see character name is the name of the array, and if you see I have just given 2 square brackets, that is I have not mentioned any value over here. This is also a way to initialize a string. Without mentioning the size, I have just inserted the value. That means according to the size of the string, the compiler will assign its value. And if you see the second statement, here I have given name as the name of the array, 6 is the size, and here I have given 6 characters. Now, when you are initializing a character array like this, compilers will return garbage value. This is because according to C's rule, every string in C should end with a null character. Here if you see there is no space for the null at all, because I have given the size as 6 and I have entered 6 values. There is no space to assign the null value. So, in this case the compilers will return some garbage value. If you see the next initialization, character array of name 7, 7 is the size and I have given 6 characters over here. So, only when an array is initialized like this, the compiler will print the character or display the character or accept the storage of this character in the right sense, because here there is one space extra to depict the end of this character array. So, these are the problems that have to be kept in mind, and accordingly characters have to be initialized when we are initializing the values. So, the size of the array has to be sufficiently given so that when the string ends, the compiler will have space to insert the null character. So, these are the different formats that are available for strings, that is using the printf statement. I am printing %s, which is the format specifier for a string, and text. Now, this text is nothing but triangle. So, this is the general format, printf %s and text, it will print the character, it will print the string. Now, this 0.5, 15, minus 10.4, all these are for printing certain characters alone from the string. Now, say the size of the string is 10, I want only the first 4 or first 5 characters. In that case, I can use digits like this. So, in the second statement, I have printf %0.5s and I am printing this text. So, point find the sense, it will take only the first 5 characters and it will display. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of this entire text only the first 5 are displayed over here. In the next I want to display the first 15 characters. Now, here if you see the compiler will not return any wrong result. Though the size of the text is less than 15, if you want to display 15 it will simply print blank values along with the whole text. It will not return any error. The next statement if you see, I am printing %.0. 0 means I do not want any character of the text to be printed. That is why this space is left blank over here. Nothing is printed when you give such a printf statement. And final printf statement, I am having a minus 10.4. This is nothing but for justification. So, when I give minus 10.4, it is left justified by 10 spaces and the 4 characters of the text are printed. So, this trias the first 4 characters of this entire text triangle, which is displayed in a left justified manner. So, this is just an example for you to know that a string can be printed with so many modifications. All this is permissible in the C programming language. So, this is an example program using strings. I have the main function character text. This is the way to declare an array and I am initializing the value. The value of this array is have a nice day and I am having an integer variable I. The purpose of this program is to display this character array. So, how am I going to display it? While text of I is 0, so we are starting from the first character of the array, while text of I is not equal to null. That means, as long as there is some value in the array, until the array is not ended, I want to print all the characters. That is why I am checking whether this is equivalent to null. So, while it is not equal to null, I am printing each character. I am printing one by one the characters. Okay. I could have easily used a putf statement and printed the entire string, but just to show how each character of the string can be taken into account and it can be displayed, we are using this printf statement. So, printf %c text of I. Why we are using %c? Because we are printing only one character at a time. So, we cannot use %s over here, we are not printing a full string, we are printing one character one by one. Then I++, that means it will move to the second character. Checks whether it is null. No, there are so many characters in this array, isn't it? So, till the y is reached, the final y is reached, the text will be printed. Once y is reached, here the compiler will identify a null character. So, it will tell that the string is over. So, while text of I will become equal to null. So, it will automatically come out of this loop and the main function will be closed. So, as I++ is to move to the next character and this is the final output. So, this is how strings are used in a C program. Now, the string standard functions, there are around 20 standard functions in C. We will see 4 to 5 functions at a time and the programs that follow it with example. Now, what is important to remember in the string standard functions is the name of the standard function, what is its purpose, for what purpose we are using that function and what is the syntax for that function, because these are built in C. It has already been defined in the string.h header file. So, only the way it is defined and the purpose for which it is defined, the same way we should use it. Now, these string functions, they make our work so much easier. Simply by using the function, you can copy strings, you can reverse strings, you can concatenate strings, you can do many applications with strings, which will otherwise be a very tedious task for the user. So, we will see the set of standard functions that are available in C. First, you have the string length function. Remember, all these should be in lowercase. Okay. So, string length is to determine the length of a string. The syntax is also given, string length of the string whose length is to be found. So, length of a string will always be an integer value. So, there should be a collecting variable which will collect the value of that length. So, it can be 4 or 5 or 15. So, string length should not simply hang in the air. Whatever length is returned by this function, it should be collected by a collecting variable. It returns an integer value, that is why it is an integer variable. Next, string copy is to copy a string from one source to another. So, the syntax is strcpy destination comma source. Now, here you have to be careful. You have to give the string which is to be copied as a second argument. The source comes as a second argument. To which place it has to be copied, that should come first. So, if you make a mistake over here, the compiler will get confused. Now, if you see, the next one is also to copy a string, but here if you see, it copies certain characters only. In this strcpy, you can only copy the entire string. Suppose you do not want to copy the entire string, only first 2 or first 3 characters, in that case you can use this strncpy. The syntax is the same for both, except that how many characters you have to copy, that you have to mention as a third argument. Next, you have the string compare function, compare itself to find out if 2 strings are same or not. So, this also will return one integer value. If it returns 0, that means the strings are equal or identical. If it returns 1 or any other value other than 0, that means the strings are not identical. So, here also there has to be an integer value as the collecting variable, that we will be seeing in the program. And string I compare, this also compares 2 strings, but C is case sensitive. So, in the first compare function, if the 2 strings are different, that is if one is lowercase and one is uppercase, but the strings are the same also, it will return only something other than 0, that means the strings are not identical. Suppose we do not want to worry about the case, we only want to know that the characters in both the strings are the same, whether it is uppercase or lowercase. In that case, we have to go to the string I compare. String I compare will ignore the case and compare the 2 strings. Now, we will see how this is used in a program. So, remember to introduce the string.h header file, because all the string functions are defined only there. So, now we are going to do around 5 manipulations in strings, that is why I have declared 4 strings, text1, text2, rep1 and rep2. And we have to collect integer values, that is why I have given integer variables over here, integer len, diff1, diff2, that is to collect the integer values. Next I am printing, enter the text. Now here the text I have entered is good, and remember the first letter is a G, capital G. So getS is to get the text. Now to get the length of this function, what am I doing? String length of this text1 and into this collecting variable, which is of type integer. So this will just return the length of this text that I have entered. We do not have to do anything else, we just have to use the function. So the length of this will be 4, that is entered into this len. So now len contains the value 4. Then I am printing the length of the string %d len. So this will be the output, length of the string is 4. This is how this is one of the easiest operations done using the string functions. Now text 1 is containing this value good. Now what I am doing, I am next using the string copy function. Now text 1 is containing good, I want to copy it to text 2. So text 1 is the source and text 2 is the destination. So I am copying that string text 1 to text 2. Now I want to see whether the string is copied. So for that reason I should display text 2 and see whether it is the same as text 1. So for that I am printing f, the copied string is %s text 2. So this should print good as the output, only then what we have done is correct. So here also I am not doing anything, I am simply using the string copy function and I am copying 2 strings. Now the next function that I am going to do is string copy using only certain characters. So for that reason I am leaving these 2 strings and I am accepting 2 new strings from the user. So enter source string, getS of rep1, destination string, getS of rep2. So the 2 strings that I have entered are wonderful and beautiful. So I want to copy only the first 3 characters from wonderful to beautiful. So how am I going to do it? For that we have a function called strncpy, destination first, then source, then the characters to be copied. So here rep1 is the source, which is nothing but wonderful, rep2 is the destination, which is nothing but beautiful, and 3 characters. So what happens, the first 3 characters will override the first 3 characters of beautiful. So this will be the output, WON, this first 3 will be replaced, UTIFUL. So this is how the output will be displayed. So here the output will not be displayed, it will only be copied. If you want to explicitly see the output, you have to give a printf statement and you have to display it. So that is what I have done over here. I am printing f the source string and the destination string, rep1 and rep2. So now I can see whether my string function has done its work. Now the next 2 functions we are going to see are comparison of 2 strings, whether they are identical or not. So, I am using the same strings that we have seen before and I am going to compare them. I told you this function also returns an integer value. So, if it is going to return a value, it has to be collected, for which I have already defined two integer variables. So, first we are having the diff1 which accepts rep1 and rep2. See, both these strings are not same. So, it will return something other than null. Then I am comparing ignoring the case good than good, that is text1 and text2. So, here it ignores the case, both the texts are same, this will return a 0. Then I am checking, if it is equal to 0 I am printing they are identical, if not I am printing they are not identical. Again for the second case, if they are equal to 0 I am printing identical, otherwise not identical. So, this is how you are going to use these functions and see on the output screen whether your functions have worked correctly or not. Now, we will see the rest of the functions after the break. Before the break we had seen the basic functions, standard functions in C, some of them how to copy, compare and find the length of a string. Now, this is just the continuation of that, where we are having two more variations of that string comparison. Like in the first two cases we saw how to compare the whole strings. Now, here we can compare only certain characters of the string. So, this is how we do it using the strncmp. So, again the source, the target and the number of characters to be compared. Now, here again you have to see the change. Here the source comes first, the target comes second and then the argument length. Now, here these two do not make a difference because we are only comparing, we are not copying, but when you are writing the syntax you should keep this in mind. It is not the same as copying, the source comes first here and the target the next, and how many characters you want to compare. Now, this also again returns an integer value, so there should be an integer variable to collect it. Now, if you want to compare two strings, only certain characters, ignoring the case, you have to use strncmp, which will ignore the case of the characters and compares the two strings. This also returns an integer value. If it is 0 they are identical, if it is not 0 they are not identical. So, that is why there is a collecting variable. And next you have string lower, which converts a string entered in uppercase into lowercase. If you are going to enter the string in lowercase also, the compiler will not give any error, it will just display it as such. And upper cases when you want to convert a string to capitals from small letters. So, how is this used in a C program? So, here again the main function and list of strings for the comparisons and integer variables. I am entering two strings, string 1 and string 2. If you see, the first string is only the first letter is capital, the second string all are capital, but both are the same. Okay, so, in the first case I am doing string compare only 4 characters, the first 4 characters of the two strings. I am not ignoring the case. Here I want the comparison to be done if it is capital or if it is small, and I am having a collecting variable to collect the value. So, how will the compiler check? It will check first two are identical, but the second are not identical, though both are E, this is in small and this is in capitals. So, here itself the compiler will decide that the two strings are not equal. So, automatically the value of diff will be something other than 0. So, in the next two set of statements where we are checking for similarity, the else statement will be printed. Strings str1 and str2 are not identical. So, this is the example with string n compare. Next, when I want to compare ignoring the case, the same first 4 characters, again the two texts are over here. Here the compiler will not bother about whether they are capital or small. It will simply check whether it is H, E and double L. Yes, the characters are the same. So, it will return the value 0 to diff2. So, then I am checking if it is equal to 0, I am printing the strings are identical. So, because it is equal to 0, the strings will be printed as identical. Here the else statement is ignored by the compiler. Next, I am converting these two strings from upper to lower case. For that I am getting two more strings, one I am entering in lower case, one I am entering in upper case, and I am just printing the string like this. In printf statement, after str upper, and I am converting this str upper to string 3. So, this teach is converted to the uppercase and I am directly printing it. I am not copying it to another string or doing anything like that. This function will automatically return as answer the converted string only. So, I am directly using it in the printf statement. and here after str lower of string 4. So, whatever string is to be converted, that is passed here as an argument to that function, and it is directly printed. So, the teach is made to capitals and the CSE is made to small. This is how we use functions and use their values and see the output on the screen. Now, the next set of string functions are how to duplicate a string. Duplicate means how to make a copy of the string. Now, here if you see, you will ask what is the difference between string copying and this. Here you are not copying the value to another string. Here you are using an pointer variable. You are copying the string in another memory location. So, the string duplication will occupy another set of memory bytes to store the string. That is the reason in the syntax we are having this pointer variable, pointer PTR. So, here this string will be copied to this memory location which is pointed to by this PTR variable. Next you are having strchr, that is if you want to search whether a given character comes in a string. In that case you use this function. So, the first occurrence of that character itself will be returned by this function whether the character is present or not. And strrchr is from the reverse, that is the last occurrence of this string. The first strchr will search the string from the beginning, strrchr will search the string from the reverse side, that is from behind. And strstr does not search for one character, we can search whether 2 or 3 characters as a string are present in another string. For example, if I say I am feeling good, I can search whether that word feeling is there. So, the full word can be searched for using the str function, whereas using the chr function only characters can be searched. So, we will, and you see all these return pointer variables, that is all this is done using memory manipulations. So, we will see how they are used in programs. So, I am declaring 2 strings over here, text1 and string 1, 2 pointer variables text2 and chp, and 1 character ch, that is to search for a certain character. No, for that reason I have a character over here. So, I am getting the text nice day, and here I am duplicating the text first. Duplicating means creating a copy of the text in another memory location. So, strdup, the text which I have entered, I am using it as the argument and I am assigning it to text2. What is text2? It is a pointer variable. So, this text1 will get stored in this memory location which is held by text2. So, to access this value I have to use this pointer text2 to see whether this value has gone to that memory location. So, what I am doing? Printing of original string and duplicate string. Original string is in text1, the duplicate string is in text2. So, here if this percentage s is printed, it has to come as pointer text2, that means pointer will get the value which is present in that memory location, then only my function is been executed correctly. So, this is how a duplication of a string is done. The next statement I am going to use the string character function where I am searching for a character in a string. So, for that reason I first have to enter what character I have to search for. So, here I am getting this get char and I am storing it in ch. Now, I have entered the character e. So, is e present in this text nice day? Yes, e is present over here in the 4th position. So, strchr, in which string, what character? So, in the string text1 I am searching for this ch character. Yes, it is found. So, if it is found, its value is stored in this pointer variable chp. Next, how to check, how to display whether it is found or not. If chp, that means if there is some value in chp, printf it is found in the string. If the chp does not exist, if the variable does not hold any value, then I am printing that the string is not found. This is how the string chr function works. So, if you are going to use strchr or strrchr, the same result is going to come. This is going to search from the beginning of the string, that is going to search from the end of the string. The next function is I am going to search for a combination of values. So, here I am entering the string which I want to search. I am entering the string day. So, the text I have entered is nice day. I am searching whether day is present in that string. So, here I am having chp str searching for the string 1 in this text. Yes, day is present in that string. So, this chp will have some value and here it is checked. Printf, it is found in this text or it is not found. In both the cases I have entered data which is already present in the string. So, when you are using this function, in these cases you have to have a pointer variable as a collecting variable, otherwise the compiler will not know where it has to inform that the character is found or the string is found. So, if you are not going to give this collecting variable, the compiler will return an error, L expression not found or collecting variable not found. So, this usage of this function is governed by this rule. So, this is how these string functions are used in C. Next, these functions are for concatenating two strings. Concatenation means appending, that is, if you are having nice as one string and day as one string and you want to make it together, you can put both the letters in one under one name itself. So, the expression for that is string cat, string 1 and string 2. String ncat is you do not want to append the whole string, you want to append only certain characters, only a specified length. Then the same syntax, only thing the extra argument of how many characters to be entered. String reverse is to reverse a string. Now, this string SPN is to find out, that is, to up to what length two strings are identical. The earlier string compare function, we ourselves decided till what characters it has to compare. Now, in this str_spn function, the compiler will tell us up till what characters the strings are identical. So, there we are doing the work and here the compiler itself tells us up till what characters they are identical. Then the string set function is, suppose a string is having the word good, you do not want the text there, you want some other symbol, hash symbol or ampersand symbol. In that case, you can change all the characters and set it with the symbol you want. This is a string set function, it sets all characters of the string with the given symbol. String end set is, as we have seen before, it does not do it for the entire string, but for the characters that we want up to a specified length. This strp_brk function is, it does two things. It first searches for a character and from that first occurrence of that character, it prints the rest of the string. For example, if I say I am working, if I want the string to be printed only that working, then I can give the character as W. The compiler will search for the letter W in the string and from the W it will print the rest of the string. So, if I give the sentence I am working, it will take the W and print only working. So, to extract some strings from a given string, we use this strp_brk function. So, this is the final program which depicts all these strings and how it is done. I have a set of strings, I am getting the two strings, I am concatenating string 1 and string 2. If you see in the first statement I have given just space, that is, to when I am concatenating I want some space between the first and the second string. So, the concatenated string is printed over here. Now, this second string gets concatenated with the first, okay, that is why I am printing only the first string. So, good day, it gets 1 here. Next I am printing the, I want to do the next string function. So, I am getting another set of text and I am concatenating only the first 3 characters. So, text 1 is 1 and 2, string 2 is day, only the first 3 characters are concatenated. So, the result becomes day 1. Then here I am reversing a string and printing it, I just have to call the string reverse function. SPN is to find out two strings up till what length they are identical. So, text 2 and text 3 are two strings, the result is 4. So, text 2 is good, text 3 is good morning. So, here only the first 4 characters are identical, so that is printed over here. Then string set is to set the string with hash symbol, set the string with star symbol up to 2 characters. And here you have the strp_brk function which is to print only from one particular character. So, here in this function strp_brk text 1 text 2 and I am giving the character from which point I have to print it, printf ptr, the character I am entering here is C, get s of text 2, text 2 is C which is a character, text 1 is the string. So, from C it prints country. And here if you see it has to return the value to a pointer variable. So, a pointer has to come as the collecting variable. So, the working of all these functions is similar. The only thing is the syntax for each has to be kept in mind and required number of strings have to be given. So, if there is a collecting variable required you have to give it. If there is no collecting variable you can directly print it using the printf statement. So, all these are built-in functions which are available in C. So, each of them have their own functions, their own syntax which has to be printed in that manner. So, the possible questions that can come from this session are the definition of strings, what is a null character we have seen with all bits equal to 0, and the different string functions. There are around 20 string functions that we have seen today. So, when they ask questions like this, you have to give it along with the syntax. And string compare and string I compare is, string compare compares keeping the case uppercase lowercase in mind, string I compare ignores the case. Strings are initialized using letters or characters or digits or symbols. If you want, you can mention the size, or you have to leave it blank, the compiler will allot the size. When you mention the size, we have to mention the null character, keeping that in mind. So, in today's session we have seen about the definition of strings, how to declare, initialize them, their form,